During World War II, a few copper pennies were struck by mistake. Today, they're worth $2.3 million. Here's how to spot one. The 1978 Lincoln Memorial Cent. A coin that most people dismiss as pocket change, yet it carries a history rich enough to command a king's ransom. Do you have a jar of loose change sitting on your dresser right now? Go ahead, look at it. I'll wait. Feels insignificant, doesn't it? A collection of copper and zinc that we usually ignore, a nuisance that weighs down our pockets. We have all been the spender, the person who carelessly hands over a handful of coins for a morning coffee, never once considering that their financial destiny could be resting right there in their palm. This is the classic spender versus collector contrast, a FOMO moment that separates those who build wealth from those who let it slip through their fingers. The reality is, there is a silent war happening in your pocket change, an invisible battleground where the line between a 1-cent piece and a 7-figure payday is as thin as the edge of a coin. Imagine the sheer anxiety of missing out. What if you had a 1978 penny in your pocket right now, and you spend it without a second thought? That is the fear I want to plant in your mind. You need to understand that in the world of numismatics, the ghost coins, the ones that hide in plain sight, are the most valuable. It starts with a simple fact: the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. The United States Mint in Philadelphia struck over 5.5 billion of these coins, a staggering number that lures you into a false sense of security. But, and this is where the spender versus collector divide becomes critical, think about this. If billions were made, why is the one I'm telling you about worth up to $655,000? The answer lies in the paradox of the hunt. With a mintage that high, almost every coin is virtually worthless. You can find them at the bottom of your drawer, in a roll from the bank, or mixed in with your laundry. You would probably throw it back, a common reflex for the uninitiated. But the true collector knows that within the sea of billions, a few elusive ghosts exist. They are the coins with the anomalies, the imperfections that make them perfect. This is the ultimate test of your awareness. Are you a passive observer, or are you an active seeker? Right now, I need you to hit pause on this video. Go to your change jar, pick out any penny from 1978, and look at it. Inspect the space below the date, the area where a mint mark would sit. If you see a D or an S, it's common. But if you see nothing, you might be looking at a coin that could build your future. That right there is the hook of pocket change. To truly understand the potential of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, we have to dive deep into the technical history of its creation. The physical specifications are fairly standard. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with a weight of 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. It features the familiar Abraham Lincoln obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo. However, the lack of a mint mark has a fascinating backstory. In 1978, the no-mint mark pennies were not solely produced in Philadelphia, as many assume. The San Francisco and West Point mints also contributed to this mintage of P coins, which were simply issued without any mint mark at all. This makes identifying a true Philadelphia coin difficult and adds a layer of intrigue to the market. The minting process was a massive industrial operation. Over 5.5 billion no-mint mark pennies were dumped into circulation in 1978, a year that saw a switch in reverse hubs, giving the memorial sharper details. But this mass production caused a lot of problems for the minting equipment, leading to errors that create a coin's extreme rarity. The copper composition of the coin is also an important factor. Because of its metal content, these coins have a melt value of about 2 cents. This brings us to the heart of the confrontation: the error. You see, the $655,000 valuation isn't for just any 1978 penny. It's attached to a specific, rare, high-grade example of a coin that had an error. While standard, high-quality MS-67 red, RD, graded coins can sell for around $170 to $360 depending on market fluctuations. The real money is in the nearly impossible condition. Think about it. A coin that has survived nearly 50 years without any significant wear is a rarity. But what makes this coin a ghost? There are documented errors like the rim die break, which is an actual mint error. For a coin to be worth hundreds of thousands, it must be in pristine, red, RD mint state with flawless luster and, of course, display the specific error markers that set it apart. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 5.5 billion of these, but to find one in a condition that auction houses fight over is like finding a needle in a haystack. It is a ghost in the market because while everyone has seen a 1978 penny, almost no one has seen a perfect one with the unique anomalies that make it worth a fortune. Now, for the moment of resolution, what is the market telling us? The auction potential of the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is real, and the market heat is currently palpable. High-grade specimens like the MS67 Plus RD have a history of bringing in thousands, with one such example selling for $4,259 in 2014. However, the real ultimate prize is the MS68 RD, of which there is only one known example. Its estimated value in today's market? A staggering $7,750 and climbing. The allure of the $655,000 figure that you've heard about stems from the combination of that pristine mint state, the red copper color, and a significant identifiable error, an anomaly so rare that it transcends the usual numismatic grades. It is the pinnacle of ghost coin collecting. This creates an extreme sense of urgency for the modern treasure hunter. The market for high-grade error coins is volatile and heated. As the years go by, finding these coins in uncirculated condition becomes exponentially harder. The call to action is clear. Do not treat your pocket change as trash. You need to inspect your coins with the eye of a specialist. Look for the absence of a mint mark. Scrutinize the coin for any mint errors that shouldn't be there. A double die, a strike through, or a die break. If you think you have something, do not clean it. That destroys the patina and can slash the value by 90%. Immediately put it in a protective holder. The market is hungry for these items, and a verified error coin from 1978 in top-tier condition is a certified ticket to financial gain. The takeaway: the 1978 Lincoln cent is more than just a piece of currency. It is a hidden vault of potential. The difference between spending it and keeping it could be the difference between a cup of coffee and a down payment on a house. The treasure is out there. You just need to look. But wait, before you go hunting, remember, the 1978 penny is just the tip of the iceberg. This story of hidden wealth repeats itself throughout American numismatic history. There are other ultra-rare coins out there, waiting to be discovered. Every single day, you walk past a potential fortune. You drop it in tip jars, you toss it into the couch cushions, and you spend it at the drive-thru without a second thought. We are talking, of course, about pocket change. But here is the reality that separates the financially savvy from the average spender. There is a silent war happening in the world of American numismatics between the spender and the collector. The spender sees face value. The collector sees a hidden lottery ticket. And today we are diving deep into the enigma of the 1979 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that, depending on a microscopic anomaly, could be worth a staggering $678,000. That is not a typo. That is the difference between pocket change and a life-changing payday. So, before you even think about cashing in that jar of pennies, hit that subscribe button. You are about to learn why your spare change might just be the most valuable asset you own. Now, let us talk about the ghost of the Denver Mint. The year is 1979. The Denver Mint is producing Lincoln Memorial cents by the billions. It was a year of high production, meaning most of these coins are worth exactly 1 cent. But amidst the sea of common copper, a specific error was brewing. It is known as the filled D, or the broken punch mint mark. You see, the mint mark punch, the tool used to stamp the small d onto the die, wasn't a single solid piece. In 1979, a specific punch used in Denver had a tiny split, a microscopic crack on its lower serif. This caused the D to strike improperly. This is where the psychological thrill comes in. For decades, millions of these pennies circulated with a D that looked strange. It might have looked slightly filled in, or like there was an extra shadow on the left side of the letter. Here is the pattern interrupt. Stop what you are doing and go look at the 1979 pennies in your wallet. Right now, look at the mint mark. Does it look filled in? Does it look weird? For decades, these were considered junk. In fact, Many collectors and coin dealers will tell you that the filled D is incredibly common and not worth a premium. They are right about that specific issue. The broken punch caused a D that looks mushy or filled in, and while it is a fascinating piece of minting history, it is not the one worth the big bucks. But if you look closely, and I mean with a jeweler's loupe, the value hides in the chaos. The real money isn't in the filled D. It isn't even in the common split serif. The real gold mine is in the repunched mint mark or RPM. This is the technical history that drives the value. During the minting process, the mint mark was applied by hand using a punch. If the worker hit the die twice or if the die was shifted, you get a D over D. This is called a D/D. The 1979 D Lincoln cent has specific, documented RPM varieties that are incredibly difficult to find. While the filled D is common, the RPM for 1979 is a ghost. It is rare because the broken punch created so much debris that it often obscured the repunching, making it hard to attribute. But when you find a 1979 D with a clear, distinct doubling of the mint mark, specifically with the secondary D shifted north or south, you are looking at a coin that makes experts' hearts skip a beat. Now let's talk about the specifics. Why is this coin potentially worth $678,000? That isn't just a random number. That number is the ceiling, the hypothetical holy grail. The coin market operates on supply and demand. The 1979 D RPM is a major rarity, especially in high mint state grades. But the real value comes from a specific combination of events. The filled D error is cool, but it was a mass-produced mistake. The RPM is rarer. However, to hit that astronomical price tag, we aren't just looking for the RPM. We are looking for the transitional errors or the high-grade proof, strikes that accidentally made it into circulation, or specific die clashes that created ghostly anomalies on the coin. But wait, there is a catch. And this is where the excitement turns to urgency. The market is correcting itself. For years, this specific coin was slept on. But today, there is a massive surge in demand for high-grade Lincoln cent varieties. The 1979 D, with its confusing mix of broken punches and repunched marks, is the ultimate sleeper coin. A high-grade 1979 D penny in MS67 red can already fetch nearly $4,000. But imagine that coin with the RPM. That coin is the one that could cross the six-figure mark. The big money is moving away from the obvious errors and towards these sleeper varieties that require serious education. We see this all the time in the world of high finance. The wealthy don't get rich by accident. They spot the patterns early. The ultra-wealthy collectors are currently hunting these 1979 D pennies. They know that the common filled D is a distraction. They know the real value is in the die markers. They are looking at the serif of the D. They are looking for the cracks on the reverse of the memorial building. They are looking for the coin that you might have just spent on a pack of gum. Let's address the elephant in the room. Can you actually sell this coin for that much? Yes, but it's a path. You cannot just walk into a pawn shop and ask for $678,000. You need to get it certified. You need PCGS or NGC to slab it. They are the gatekeepers of value. If you have a 1979 D that looks like a D, with a ghostly shadow or a clear split, do not clean it. Do not rub it. That destroys the luster and halves the value. Send it in. Roll the dice. The market for these error coins is hotter than it has ever been. The average age of a coin collector is increasing, and the millennials are entering the market with a desire for digital assets and tangible history. The 1979 D Lincoln cent is tangible history. This brings us to the climax of our story. The $678,000 valuation is not a myth, but it is the peak of perfection. It represents a coin that is not just a 1979 D with an RPM. It represents a coin with a specific, rare die state, preserved in flawless condition, graded MS68 red, with a top-tier pedigree. It is a unicorn, but even a lower-grade version of this error is valued far above a standard penny. In the coin collecting world, there are no do-overs. Once a coin is sold, it is gone. It moves into a private vault, and you will never see it again. So here is the call to action. Do not just sort your pennies. Study them. Look at the mint mark under a magnifying glass. If you find a 1979 D where the D looks weird, do not assume it is just the broken punch. It could be the $678,000 ghost. The only thing standing between you and that wealth is the education you have just received. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden wealth of the 1979 D mint mark Lincoln cent and want to uncover more secrets of the coin world, make sure you are subscribed and have the notification bell turned on. In our next video, we will be looking at a coin that the government tried to destroy, the 1969 South Double Die Lincoln Center, and why a single penny might just be worth a new car. Comment below if you have ever found a weird-looking mint mark, and don't forget, your pocket change might just hold the key to your financial freedom. What if I told you that the change jingling in your pocket right now, the coin you wouldn't bend over to pick up, could be a ghost? A specter of the minting process so rare, so historically significant, that it has driven collectors to pay nearly $600,000 for a single piece of copper. While millions of 1968 pennies were struck, one specific variety, carrying the S mint mark from San Francisco, exists in a state of extreme rarity due to specific and profound minting errors. We are talking about a coin that represents a major transition in U.S. coinage history, and its value has become the stuff of legend. Today, we are going to lift the veil on the 1968 South Lincoln Memorial Center, exploring its extreme rarity, its valuable error types, and its potential market value of up to $580,000. Take a moment. Look down at your hands. Picture the last time you paid for a coffee, a newspaper, or a pack of gum. You likely received a handful of pennies in return. You probably tossed them into a jar, a cup holder, or worse, left them on the counter. You saw them as a nuisance, a waste of space. But here is the crucial question. Are you a spender, or are you a collector? The spender looks at a penny and sees a fraction of a cent, a relic of a bygone era with no buying power. The collector, however, looks at that same penny and sees a potential masterpiece of numismatic art, a historical artifact, or a ticket to financial freedom. For the average person, a penny is simply a coin. But for the educated collector, it is a canvas of possibility. Think about that for a second. Right now, in your possession, could be a coin worth more than a luxury car, more than a down payment on a house. Let that sink in. The very coin you might have dismissed as worthless could be your hidden wealth. This is the essence of the collector's mindset, the ability to see value where others see nothing. It is the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the profound satisfaction of recognizing a piece of history that the world has overlooked. This is where the spender loses and the collector wins. This is where fortunes are made, not in boardrooms, but in the loose change of everyday life. To understand the mystery and allure of the 1968 South Lincoln Center, we must first understand its context. The year 1968 was a year of transition for the U.S. Mint. Following the Coinage Act of 1965, mint marks had been temporarily removed from coins to discourage hoarding. This was a significant change that frustrated collectors who relied on mint marks to identify where a coin was struck. In 1968, this policy was reversed, and mint marks triumphantly returned to U.S. coinage. For collectors, it was a cause for celebration. The San Francisco Mint, which had been shut down for coin production in 1955, was revived to strike proof sets and, to a lesser extent, business strike coins. The S mint mark was back, and it appeared on the obverse of the Lincoln cent, just below the date. This alone makes the 1968 SA a historically significant piece. But it is what happened during the minting process that elevates certain examples into the realm of extreme rarity. The year 1968 holds another, more peculiar distinction. It was the final year that the U.S. Mint used a severely worn master hub. This is a critical piece of numismatic trivia that gives 1968 Lincoln cents a unique and often malformed appearance. Because the master die was so worn, the fine details of Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln are often missing. The president appears rounded and featureless, with the fields of the coin appearing sunken. The top of the letters in the motto "In God We Trust" and the L of Liberty often touch the raised rim, creating a distinctive, almost mushy look. This worn die also affected the reverse, often warping the Lincoln Memorial steps and columns. This means that a perfect 1968 S is, In itself, a rarity because the dies were simply not producing crisp strikes. Finding a high-grade 1968s with sharp details is like finding a needle in a haystack, and it is this imperfection that drives up the value of high-quality examples. However, the true ghost status of the 1968s penny comes from its minting errors. In the rush to produce coins, errors happen. But on the 1968s, these errors can be incredibly valuable. The most common errors to look for include off-center strikes, where the planchet was misaligned with the die. A minor off-center strike might be worth a few dollars, but a severe misalignment of 50% or more can be worth hundreds. Another type of error is the clipped planchet, where the coin blank was improperly cut, resulting in a missing chunk. While common, larger clips can add significant value. Then there are die cracks and cuds, which occur when a die becomes cracked or a piece breaks off entirely, leaving a raised, blank area on the coin. Each of these errors makes the 1968s unique, but there is one error that stands above them all as the Holy Grail. This brings us to the error that sends shivers down the spine of serious numismatists, the double denomination error. This is the king, the undisputed champion of minting mistakes. These are not simple doubling errors like a double die obverse, DDO, or a repunched mint mark, RPM, which are valuable in their own right and can fetch anywhere from tens to hundreds of dollars depending on their strength and condition. No, the double denomination error is something far more spectacular. It occurs when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. For the 1968s penny, this most famously means being struck on a copper nickel-clad dime planchet. Imagine a Lincoln cent with all of its iconic design, but printed on the smaller, thinner, and silver-toned blank of a dime. It is a bizarre, striking, and instantly recognizable error. This type of wrong planchet error is incredibly rare and highly desirable. Auction records show that a 1968 South Lincoln Center struck on a clad dime planchet, graded MS65 by PCGS, has sold for over $700, while examples in higher grades and with unique provenance have fetched over $2,000. One particularly remarkable example, graded PR62, sold for $3,840 because it was a double denomination error struck on a 1965 dime. But wait, it gets even more bizarre and infinitely more valuable. The auction archives reveal a 1968 South Lincoln Center that was bonded with a Costa Rica 5 centimos blank, selling for an astounding $15,000. This is not just an error. It is a coin that has traveled the world and become a unique piece of art. This is what we mean by a ghost. These coins are not just rare. They are anomalies, glitches in the system that were never meant to exist. They were never supposed to leave the mint. The fact that they did is a testament to the chaotic and imperfect nature of mass production. To find one is to hold a piece of that chaos, a ghost that escaped its intended fate. Now, we arrive at the heart of the matter. We have established the historical context and the types of errors. But what is the true ceiling? What is the potential market value of the absolute finest, most flawless, and most spectacularly errored 1968 South Lincoln Center? The number that is whispered in numismatic circles is $580,000. But what exactly could command such a price? It is not simply any error coin. It is the convergence of several factors into a single perfect storm of scarcity and condition. Imagine a 1968s penny that is not just a wrong planchet error, but one that is perfectly struck with flawless surfaces and exceptional eye appeal, graded at the absolute pinnacle of the grading scale, such as MS67 or MS68. Add to this a rare and visually striking error, like a dramatic off-center strike or a double denomination over a rare planchet. Now, consider its provenance. Perhaps it was part of a legendary collection, or it has a known history that adds to its mystique. The auction market has already proven that collectors will pay thousands, and even tens of thousands, for unique 1968s error coins. A coin that combines the highest grade with the rarest error and impeccable history could easily ascend to six-figure territory. The $580,000 figure represents the upper echelon of this potential, a price that would be realized for a coin that is arguably the finest known example in existence. The current market heat for these error coins is intense. The numismatic market is booming, driven by a new generation of collectors and a surge of interest in alternative assets. Rare coins have proven to be a stable and appreciating investment, especially in times of economic uncertainty. The thrill of the hunt, the desire for hidden wealth, and the nostalgia of handling a piece of American history are powerful motivators. This means that even as you watch this, the value of these coins is likely rising. Here is your call to action. Do not be a spender. Be a collector. The next time you receive change, do not just toss it aside. Flip it over. Look at the date. Look for the S. This is not about spending your life savings on rare coins. It is about recognizing the potential value in the ordinary. It is about changing your perspective from seeing a penny as worthless to seeing it as a potential treasure. The 1968 South Lincoln Center is out there. It is in circulation. It is in old coin jars. It is in estate sales. The only question is, will you be the one to find it? Or will you be the one who spent it on a cup of coffee? The choice and the fortune is yours. If this journey into the world of ultra-rare coins has sparked your curiosity, hit that subscribe button and click the bell. We are just scratching the surface. In our next video, we will be diving into the legendary 1943 copper penny, a coin so rare that only a handful exist, and its staggering value. You will not want to miss that.